Well, good evening, everyone out there at home, and once again, you, right there. This isn't fucking Pornhub. I told you the last show. Yeah, put your clothes back on. Yeah, you, yeah. All right, anyways, let's block him out of this. So, cheers to everybody. Welcome to the show. I understand that things are a challenge right now with COVID and so forth, and, having to wear masks everywhere. But, there's also a bright side. If you've seen some of the girls I date, the masks are not such a bad thing. And with that, let's take a look at things that are different, not only from COVID, but let's look at life. Let's take a look, for example, all of these people are smoking marijuana now. What really pisses me off about this is simply that these fuckers like you, are smoking all this weed while you're driving, throwing your fucking roaches out the window, and we end up with all these potholes. People like me driving down the street, we hit these potholes and spill our beer. It's just not right. You gotta quit doing that. And speaking of legalized marijuana now, it's gotten so bad that even the animals out in the forests are enjoying it. There was an iguana, for example. He's walking through the forest and he smells something funny. And he looks around, he looks up, and he sees a bear up there in the tree smoking a joint. He says, "Hey, bear, what are you doing, man?" He says, "Well, iguana, man, I'm smoking a joint. You want to come up?" Well, the iguana couldn't resist this. He goes up the tree and he smokes a joint with the bear. The bear's sitting there just zoning out, and the iguana's, "Bear, man, I got really bad cotton mouth from that shit, man. I'm going down to the river to get a drink." So he wanders on down the tree and down to the river, and as he's leaned over to get a drink, sploosh, he falls in the goddamn water. Well, this nice alligator was swimming by, so he picked him up on his nose and just kind of threw him back on shore and says, "Iguana man, what are you doing?" He says, "Well, I was smoking a joint with a bear in the tree, got cottonmouth, come down, get a drink, fell in the river, man." He says, "Oh, shit. But where's this bear? I gotta see it. A bear smoking a joint. I gotta see this." So the alligator wanders over to the tree, looks up at the bear and says, "Hey, bear, what you doing?" He says, "Holy fuck, iguana, how much water did you drink, man?" But with that, different animals, are different things, and times are changing. Once again, politically correctness. We're not allowed to say certain things anymore. People are very sensitive. And that's really killing comedy. Because let's face it, we raise awareness of issues through finding the uncomfortable points that people need to laugh at to open a dialogue. Plain and simple. There was a time where I could tell you about Smokey the Bear and why he never had children. Every time his wife got too hot, he'd beat her with a fucking shovel. But I'll get letters and emails if I was to tell you that joke, so I'm not going to tell that one. Other things, you can't say socially, as socially acceptable anymore. People of all different races and nationalities and backgrounds and beliefs and this and that, they get upset and they send you letters. So let me tell you this to start off. If you're thinking about sending me off an email, don't waste your time. If I cared about what you thought, I'd be watching your fucking video. Plain and simple. In comedy, though, you've got to talk about this, you've got to talk about that, and you try to get people to relax a little, because I know people are anxious. They're scared to be in a store and forget to put on a mask. They're afraid to be out and say the wrong things. But let's just face it. If you're going to say something, just pretend that it's something that you would say to your mother. If it's not acceptable to say to your mother, keep your mouth closed. Plain and simple. If, times were different, I could make jokes about, the moving industry, for example. People that would make, things difficult or easy. For example, celebrities, when you move them. Elton John. Elton John, I could have told you, he's great for professional movers because he goes in and Elton John's shit is always well packed. Plain and simple. And Ellen, on the other hand, the movers get very frustrated because every time a man touches her box, she gets very upset. But again, I can't say these jokes in a politically correct time. So we'll leave those alone. Let's now take a look at political correctness when it comes to greeting cards. The greeting cards don't say Merry Christmas anymore in a lot of places. People are afraid to send them out, you know? But I say send out the greeting card however you want. But with that thought, I think I should go and work for Hallmark, because the Hallmark cards, I think, can be saving a lot of money in just merging departments together and selling twice as many cards and cutting them in half. So for example, you can merge the condolences and the wedding cards. For example, you can open it up. It says, congratulations, open the card. We hear the bitch is finally dead. So there you go, combine a condolence and a wedding card. Perfect. Again, on the front, we're sorry to hear. Open it up. Then you're getting married. Pretty simple. Merge them together, save some money, make some money. That's the way I see it. So when you're looking at things that are changing, of course, you know, we're getting older. As we get older, maybe we're more sensitive or less sensitive. I think personally, I'm getting less sensitive. I'm getting a lot less patience for people that piss me off. And I used to bite my tongue, but not anymore. Now I just call it the way I see it. And I tell people what I think. Because let's face it, I don't give a shit. That's the way it is. People get upset, you know, they say, oh my God, you know, you shouldn't smoke. And I enjoy my cigarettes, plain and simple. But the way that I rationalize it is that all of these little fairy douche flutes with their little man buns walking around vaping all day, they are the problem. Not me. I like my cancer the old-fashioned way. I have a cigarette. The cigarette doesn't blow up in my face. It doesn't taste like I'm at the carnival eating candy corn. It's a fucking cigarette, the way it was meant to be. And besides, everybody in my family dies of colon cancer. So, if the politicians quit blowing smoke up my ass, there my odds have just increased to live a long and happy life. Very simple. When you start looking at aging, once again, this is for the ladies, you know, I see you getting these big tattoos on your bellies, you know, butterflies and, you know, cute little things, you know, a peacock or whatever. But let me tell you, 30 years from now, that fucker's going to sag, it's going to have wrinkle marks, it's going to have stretch marks, it's going to look like a dozen crows just went to town on a piece of roadkill. So let me tell you this. Get, when you're 18 and have nice firm breasts, a little garter snake down your breast, then when you're 80, you can wrap that fucker around your head like an anaconda. Make sure it ages gracefully with you. Speaking of the ladies, one thing I don't understand is that as we've gotten older, instead of eliminating the nagging wife while we're driving, now we've got GPS. So we've just doubled it. When our wife is not in the car, we now have GPS to nag us, and half the time she's giving us the wrong directions anyway. I think she's sitting in a little computer room somewhere, fucking with us, telling us to go around the block 6 times just to see how many times we'll actually do it before we stop and figure out that she hasn't got a fucking clue either. Excuse me. But with that said, of course, there's also the other side. The man that I pity is the GPS lady's husband. Could you imagine going home to that and trying to have sex with the GPS lady? Please accelerate. Please slow down in this zone. Please U-turn. Please turn left, turn right, turn left, turn right, in, backwards, forwards, backwards, in, out, left, right. Oh my God, just goes on. Until, of course, the inevitable happens. One night when he's drunk and gets home, and he starts and she's giving him direction, and all of a sudden the GPS explodes. Well, at least she does. And I don't mean in a good way. She starts screaming at him that he's entered a one-way tunnel, that he better not turn around, just put the car directly in reverse and get the fuck out of there. Who knows? But it's sex with the GPS lady, something I don't wish on any man. With different things, you know, the talking. And you know the GPS lady's going to be like every other lady. She's going to want to stay up and talk after sex. That's just what happens. So here's the deal. GPS lady or not, when us men want a threesome, we're only thinking of you. How, you say? Well, it's simple. We want to sleep after sex, you want to talk. So by having a threesome, we have two ladies that we can disappoint at once. But when we're done, we go to sleep, and you two can sit up until the sun rises talking about how bad it really was. Simple. The threesome is just being considerate of your feelings and what you want to do after sex. There you go. In any event, I am James the Canadian Comedian Cousineau. Feel free to follow me on www.reverbnation.com/Canadian Comedian. You betcha, we'll be there. Stay safe, stay home, and most of all, Merry Christmas.